Alright, thanks for joining me again today. Got a mixed news kind of day once again. A lot of things have happened in crypto over the past few days that I just need to revisit with you. So, going to give you my take on everything that's been occurring in the crypto space. But first and foremost, as we can all see here, Bitcoin is having itself a great week. Let's see, what do we got going on? We're up about 13% or so on the week. So yeah, bullish for crypto as a whole. But like I said, I mean, you had people calling for 3K and stuff. That doesn't even make sense when looking at this chart anymore. All right, this is the weekly. I mean, in Bitcoin history, you don't ever see anything like that again. All right, we had basically a double bottom here, even during that crazy sell-off in March, and we recovered from that completely. Pushing the 2019 highs right now, which ran up to about 14,000. I mean, once we get over that, we're out of there, guys. I mean, the new all-time highs are coming. It's coming quickly, and it's coming next year. It's not going to happen this year. I think this year we're like I've said, over the next 2 months now, that's all we have left. We'll probably retest, get close, 19, 20,000 area. I think it'll get rejected, and we'll consolidate, and we'll head up again early next year. I'd say first quarter, maybe into May is when we'll see that break of 20,000. Could be wrong. That's just what I think and how I see it compared to history. Bitcoin, each cycle in Bitcoin has gotten longer and longer. So I think this one's going to take yet a little bit longer, not too much, but yeah, that'll take us around to May timeframe for an all-time high. We'll see. But all right, as always, I'm always bullish on Riot. Like I said, I think Bitcoin's up about 7% today, and then here you have Riot. Riot's doing, it's up about 11% today. So over the past 24 hours, anyway. So Riot always outperforms Bitcoin on a daily. When Bitcoin goes up, it also goes down more than Bitcoin. So if you want more volatility for trading purposes, or you just expect better gains, Riot's a great way to get it in crypto. I also think that just mining stocks as a whole are completely undervalued for Bitcoin. And I've said before, Riot is one of the few publicly traded Bitcoin mining companies. It's set to next year have between 1.5 and 2% of the entire Bitcoin mining hash rate. I've showed you the numbers there. If you work it out on a percentage basis, the share should be worth somewhere around $300 to $500 at that point in time. If Bitcoin is able to get up to over $1 trillion market cap, we'll see. I've done the numbers on that before. It's all speculation, but I'm just more bullish on Riot than Bitcoin. Another thing I want to touch on with the price action really quick before I move into the news related stuff is, when you're seeing price action like this in Bitcoin and altcoins aren't moving, some of them are today, but a lot of them aren't. Don't panic, right? Because that idea that you're feeling, I need to buy Bitcoin, I should have had some, that's emotional, and that's basically FOMO. So this happens, all right? If you haven't been around for a Bitcoin bull cycle before, almost every time you see upwards price action, Bitcoin moves first. It slows down, consolidates, and then the alts fly. All right, so that's why it's just good to have both. You need to know what strategy you're working with. Are you an investor or are you a trader? If you're investing, you definitely want to just have both. Continue to dollar cost average as we go. Don't be buying something that's up over, 1,000% in a month and so on. I mean, like I said before, I don't want to ramble on too long about this, but in my honest opinion, throughout this period of time, 2018, 2019 is when you should have already been accumulating your portfolio. And now, if you did things right, you just get to wait, right? You get to sit and wait. Obviously, nobody's perfect. I definitely didn't do that to a T, but this space moves so rapidly, you have to keep up with the changes that are coming. But of course, it doesn't hurt to have some Bitcoin. because it leads the way, essentially. So it's good to have balance with both, I would say. All right, and if you want some Bitcoin exposure that moves a little faster and is also found on traditional stock market like trading apps, Riot's a great one. So all right, moving on. Had to touch on this really quick. So the IMF, they had this conference earlier this week, and they said that we need a Bretton Woods type moment to save the economy. So not going to dive super deep into that, but I've covered financial reset on my channel plenty of times up to this point, and it's obvious to me. All right, there's going to be some kind of new financial structure put into place that involves crypto, and there will be some form of gold standard. I have no doubt about that, especially with calls like this. Bretton Woods moment, okay? To understand that, you need to briefly understand what happened at Bretton Woods, right? So what happened there, all right? The Bretton Woods Agreement and System explained. Simply put, the Bretton Woods Agreement and System created a collective international currency exchange regime that lasted from the 1940s to the early 1970s. The Bretton Woods system required a currency peg to the US dollar, which was in turn pegged to the price of gold, right? Very simply put, it was the gold standard type of system. It also created the IMF and the World Economic Forum. I think, both global entities that have been seen working with Ripple and XRP, behind the scenes. So there you have it. Just wanted to touch on that briefly because I'm going to talk about Ripple next. But Ripple has been seen, with the IMF and World Economic Forum plenty of times. They just had guest speakers at Ripple's Swell event just last week. So, all right. But anyway, Bretton Woods was the gold standard. All right. IMF's basically in coding language saying that we need to return to a gold standard. That's what they're telling us. All right. So now we're just trying to figure out what basket of currencies are they going to use and what cryptos are they going to use, because it's going to happen. All right. Even Judy Shelton said we need to return to a gold standard in a very cryptocurrency type of way. Okay, so what cryptos are they going to use? That's all we're trying to figure out at this point. And it's not only going to be CBDCs. There's got to be some digital currencies, publicly traded cryptos that are already in circulation that are involved. The goal here is just to figure out which ones. All right. And I say all that because at this point it's so obvious, right? Okay, so they're calling for a return to a gold standard. Well, guess what happened, right? The reason that we even came off the gold standard is because of lack of trust, right? What was really going on was countries stopped believing other countries about what gold reserves were actually there, and did we actually have the amount of gold we were saying that we had? All right, so people didn't believe each other, and they pulled out of the agreement, basically. All right. Well, what do we have now? Now we have a trustless system with public ledgers. All right, and that is what crypto is. These publicly traded crypto assets. All right, they have public ledgers. So it couldn't be more obvious to me. And that's why I'm trying to show you guys this. Okay, so we moved off the gold standard because of lack of trust, and now we have a trustless system where everyone can verify the assets that they have on a public ledger. Wow, sounds like it was almost in the works for years, right? All right, moving on. Now I'm going to talk about some XRP and potentially stellar news. So just recapping this. So at the same time the IMF meeting was going on, there's also this DC FinTech Week that happens every year as well. And this, Ripple's always there, always involved. And this year around, let's look at some of the speakers they had. So they had Sharon Bowen, former CFTC commissioner. Akon was there. It's kind of funny, but at the same time, Akon is building his A coin right now, and he wants to create like a smart city in Africa, essentially. But guess what he's doing it on? He's building his A coin on Stellar. Okay, so there you have it. Stellar is there in the form of Akon. All right, what else we got? We got Brad Garlinghouse there, CEO of Ripple, VP Financial Services, Google Cloud, first deputy governor, Central Bank of Sweden, founder and CEO of Promontory, an IBM company. Brian Brooks there once again. I'm going to show you some of his clips. Got this guy here from the Bank of International Settlements, United States Department of Treasury, Chainalysis, Consensus, European Commission. I think the same guy spoke at Ripple Swell as well. All right, so you get it. While Stellar was speaking at the IMF, Ripple was over here working with DC FinTech. So I think they're both plugged in. And all right, so another quick thing. So there was an article. I covered a lot of Brian Brooks stuff in my last video. I'm going to do a little bit more today. But this article from December 18th of 2018. All right, so now we're going back over almost 2 years. America could lead the transition to a digital currency reserve. All right, and IMF calling for a new Bretton Woods moment. Cool. What else did he have to say? So let's listen here.
In the meantime, corporate America is not waiting for that. So we've all read a lot about Facebook's Libra project with its various ups and downs. We've read less about other stablecoin projects like the Circle partnership for USDC or the Gemini coin or the Paxos coin. But if you look, Chris, over the last month or two, and you just look at the growth trajectory of these stablecoin projects, these have been doubling in market capitalization roughly every 60 days for the last 6 months. That's an incredible hockey stick asymptotic rate of growth, which tells us the market wants these things and the market will have these things. So we can try to push back as long as we can, kind of like the taxi cab commissions did with Uber, and we saw how that ended. Or we can embrace it and say, look, the good parts of this are very, very good. And we need to come out now and get in front of it by saying, we're okay with these projects as long as they meet these parameters, and only outside the parameters are going to have problems. We need to be clearer about that if we want to be competitive as a country and if we want to avoid bad outcomes as markets move in the direction they're going to choose.
All right. So Brian Brooks is saying that the market demands stablecoins and that it already has them, basically. And this is what I've been talking about. So I think the United States approach is going to be, well, we're not going to build a Fed CBDC, all right? They're just deflecting and pretending like they're still thinking about it and this and that. Meanwhile, we have plenty of stable coins in circulation, USDC being a prominent one that he keeps mentioning, that are already out there. So the market already has a United States central bank digital currency. It has plenty of them, okay? And I think the U.S. is going to be just fine with letting those continue to increase in value and so on, as long as they're acting within the regulations. And that's exactly what he just said. So, all right, what else did we have? We had this guy.
Rising above that, we have some international reserve currencies. So you have reserve currencies that are also recognized as assets by multiple countries. There are several of those. And so for a transaction to take place from country A to country B, it's not just a matter of two currencies sort of coming together. It's a matter of exchanging from the originating currency into a reserve or a recognized international currency and then back out again. And this is primarily true in developing markets. In developed markets where the country's currency happens to be a reserve currency, well, there's essentially only one exchange that takes place, or the recipient is willing to accept the reserve currency. In the digital world, rising above that, we have some international.
All right, so that was at the IMF panel. I think this guy is the CEO or head of this company called eCurrency, I believe. But anyway, he literally just said that we need a system where there is a central reserve asset, and we use it as a settlement layer between our CBDCs, essentially. Oh wait, that's exactly what Ripple and Stellar are designed to do on the retail and wholesale side, I believe. All right, so right at the IMF and right at DC FinTech Week, they keep talking about the use case that Ripple and Stellar solve. Okay, so this is why us people in XRP and Stellar community are so bullish on the two assets because they are solving a real world problem. Okay. All right, moving on. What else do we have here? Second. I think that's the only two clips I really wanted to show you. Yeah, that's it. All right. So moving on to the news. All right. So just yesterday, the Bahamas launches world's first CBDC, the sand dollar. The central bank digital currency became available to all 393,000 residents of the Bahamas, and this makes the Bahamas the first country in the world to officially roll out a CBDC. Cambodia's Bekong digital currency is expected to become operational in the coming months following its pilot launch in July of 2019. All right, so more CBDC talk. Obviously, we're moving into this world where, at least temporarily, I believe every country is going to have some form of digital currency, their digital fiat, but at the center, you will have other digital assets. All right, so we're here. Remember, we're just trying to figure out which ones are going to be the chosen ones, per se. Also, just today, PayPal to offer crypto payments starting in 2021. PayPal customers will be able to use cryptocurrencies to shop at any merchant in its large network starting from early 2021, the company said. The coins initially supported will include Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin. In addition to the cryptocurrency payments, PayPal users will also be able to purchase crypto directly through the app. Very important, PayPal is one of the largest global payment providers with 346 million active accounts and 222 billion in volume processed in Q2 of 2020. So, and also obviously everyone knows probably PayPal is big with eBay. So there you have it. eBay is now going to have crypto integrated by default. Venmo is going to have it as well, which is a side company of PayPal, I think. So yeah, I just want to talk about this and the CBDCs and everything because it's like, is it not obvious that this is all coming? And every company now seems to be citing 2021, right? You're having USDC moving to Stellar early 2021. PayPal is going to start offering crypto early 2021. So it's coming. And, you know, if you can't feel it in the air, it's there, right? This is what it felt like, just like the beginning of or end of 2016, nearing the elections. Same thing. History is repeating itself, and if it continues to follow through, next year is going to be extremely explosive for the crypto market, and I expect it to be far more than we've ever seen. All right, because you're going to have platforms like PayPal getting involved with their 346 million accounts. Like, get here, man. You got to get in. If you don't have any exposure right now, you're just hurting yourself. I mean, that's just a matter of fact, okay? Last but not least, I want to get into some more of the regulation topics, okay? So, as I mentioned before, BitMEX got hit. You know, their founders were arrested for allowing U.S. customers to trade on their platform without being KYC. Basically, that's what happened. All right. So now, I'm sure nobody's surprised or shocked about this, but they said, we are accelerating the rollout of our user verification program. Users must now be fully verified by the 5th of November and in order to continue trading on the BitMEX platform. Further information is available on our blog. Okay, so whatever, you get it. BitMEX is now going to enforce the KYC. Everyone's going to have it done by the 5th of November, or you're going to have to get off their platform. So everyone's in here in the comments trolling them now. Like, oh, rest in peace. You know, bye-bye. You're just going to leave? All right, well, I wanted to touch on that a little because this is going to happen to every single exchange, even these DEXs, all right? So all these people who think they're going to just go on the flippy swap and swappy swip and be non-compliant, you know, they're going to get hit with a rude awakening eventually, all right? And the founder, you know, I think it was Crypto News, I'm not sure if you watch him, but he was talking about how he was disappointed in IDEX requiring KYC, a decentralized exchange, because they were kind of bending the knee like, okay, well, do you own that exchange, and do you feel like going to prison? You know, do you want to get arrested? All right, eventually everyone will cave because nobody wants to go to prison so that they can make a little bit of money and have a DEX that doesn't have KYC. Okay, it's just not worth it. But it's not surprising to me. All right, so let's get into the next one. Saw this tweet here by Joe Schmo, I guess it was supposed to be. Yesterday, he talked about, or he just posted this little screenshot. More systemic worries have focused on the possibility of tightening regulations around the world, particularly concerning how cryptocurrency moves on and off exchanges. There is specific concern that the International Financial Action Task Force will recommend what's known as whitelisting to global regulators. Now, I'm not sure if you follow or watched my video when I talked about this before, but I spoke about this like a week, 2 weeks ago, and said exactly that. All right, so the time will come, maybe not today, all right, but it will happen to where all DEXs, any exchange in existence, you're going to have to be KYC. And let's continue reading. Whitelisting rules would require that exchanges only allow users to withdraw crypto to wallets linked to their identity, in essentially the same way banks require thorough identity confirmation for all accounts. Whitelisting is already enforced in Switzerland, somewhat ironically. All right, that's about it. The point is, like I said in a couple videos back, it's all because of tax purposes, right? So you're not going to just get to swap between one account to the next account, and you don't carry your cost bases with you, and then you go over to this account and you sell. You didn't have your identity verified on that one, so now your cost basis is lost, and there's no way to track how you're going to pay taxes on that, and that's just not going to fly, okay? Can you send money right now from Fidelity to Charles Schwab, you know, from your account to your brother's account? No. Can't do that, okay? And it's going to be the same thing here, all right? You can't just send from one account to the next that isn't verified with your ID. So the way it's going to work is, guaranteed, this is how it's going to happen. There's going to be a requirement that everyone has their digital identity, per se, verified on whatever exchange they're using, including decentralized exchanges. And if it's not verified, then your account that interacted with that wallet is going to be blacklisted. So you won't be able to move those funds until you verify your identity, right? And it's just as simple as that. I'm not saying that I want this to happen. I'm just saying that that is what is, okay? We aren't going to be able to avoid this. They will make sure that people are compliant and get their taxes and get their taxes paid, and that's about that. You know, I'm only saying this because I don't want to see people that are watching my channel that think they're just going to continue to play around and you know, do things wrong and expect nothing to happen. You know, I want you to know that there is going to come a time where you have to pay up, essentially. And if you did some illegal things with those addresses, you know, and you can't verify your identity, then those funds are going to be lost. So just make sure you're playing it smart. All right, to finish things off, I need to talk about Elastos more on my channel. If you're here because of Elastos, I really appreciate it. I don't cover it that much just because there hasn't been any crazy developments. Over the past few weeks, there has been a few things that I do need to cover, and I'm going to make an individual video specifically talking about it, okay? So, but one good thing about Elastos, finally got listed on a decent exchange. So just yesterday, Elastos, it was announced that Elastos is going to be listed on Bitrex. So there you have it. And this listing all came down to Cyber Republic. It was voted on by the community. It was funded by the community, which I think is awesome. You know, it shows a real DAO actually in place making decisions for the project. So they voted on an exchange listing. The fundings got put forward, and here you have it. So Bitrex it is. I'm sure they're going to be working on some other ones like Coinbase and so on eventually. But Coinbase just lists whatever is in their benefit up to this point, I feel. But that's another topic. All right, so but that about covers it. As always, please like and subscribe, share with your friends and family, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks.
What is a cashless society? What does it actually mean in a literal or high-level sense?
Money will become like these, relics of a different age, and will only be found in places like this. In other words, hard cash will disappear. It will become electronic, transferred by things like these.
Then Tracy is in Beijing to show us what a nearly cashless society actually looks like. Ben, good morning.
Mobile payment transactions in China reached a cumulative total of 277.4 trillion RMB in 2018, ranking #1 in the world, according to the recently released statistical report on internet development in China. As of June 2019, online payment users in the country reached 633 million. The cashless society is now approaching.
When's the last time you paid with cash? Well, chances are cash has taken a backseat to the plastic in your wallet and smartphone pay apps.
Denver 7's Ryan Luby explains the digital pay revolution and why not everyone is on board.
The cashless society, the cashless society.
The cashless society.
The cashless society is now approaching.
The cashless society.